Today we are going to share with you how we do contextualize some part of the assessment which we normally we have not used. Today let us see, dear friends, how we do contextualize some of the assessment technique in life science pedagogy. I hope you will enjoy and will continue enjoy.
So
Thank
here,
you.
I introduce you. Hello, hello. Yeah. Just now I introduced you. Mike. I'm just checking Mike. Yeah. Just a few moments back, I try to mention a particular name that resource I have been given by as a gift by NARS USA. It's one of the top associations of the worldwide association of doing research for betterment of the science teachers all over the world, and in India, in Homiva Research Center in Trombay, they conducted a first workshop. Then the second time I got a chance to organize that I was there. At the time, I was in a particular institution uh, managing the research and development cells as a faculty too, and I got a chance to coordinate to apply that project, and for school teachers, especially for science. So this particular study material was given by them, and this is, you can see on the screen. This is Science by Doing Assessment, Professional Learning Resources, and it's very beautiful. Side by side we'll see. Let us see what they are inside. Introducing assessment strategies. It is a teacher's manual, and at the same time a practice manual is always there. This is one digital material with ISBN, published with the number of international series of book number. So this is one of the digital resource member, and uh, which they have given me after that particular training program, and they came from Australia, Curtin University. And someday, if we get time, let us invite them so that we can have a video a class along with them. But now let us see in this particular resource what are there inside. And in this particular, a digital resource material book, two CD-ROMs are there. One is for a teacher for reference, and another one is for teacher practice before going to class. And this particular resource I am sharing right now is with reference to assessment program in science. I'm trying to slowly, contextualize. As I mentioned, I say, let us see what is there inside in the sitemap. So if say introducing assessment strategies, starting points, cartoon scenarios, concept maps, interviews, ideas for assessment, ideas for assessment defining phases, ideas for assessment quality questions, checklists and rubrics here. So practicing assessment strategies. Actually, I have gone through all these things, and I have seen the demonstration by those three, resource person came from Australia. At that time, Curtin University, one of the top university in the world, it comes under top 15 with regards to teacher education training program. Conduct an interview, find assessment resources, introduce and apply a rubric, and plan an assessment review. See, these are site map inside. It's for teachers reference. Okay, and now I'm closing it. Let's go to see what are inside. Whenever there is a pause, I am going to refer to something more.
This resource illustrates a number of assessment techniques.
Please listen carefully.
All of the techniques are aimed at finding out what your students know and can do. Some of the techniques might be used at various points of a unit, at the beginning, during, or at the end.
Starting point.
Before commencing a unit, it is useful to find out what your students already know about the topic. Here are 3 possible starting points to do that.
So one is here cartoon, it's active. I can go on with hello cartoon. This particular study material try to demonstrate with animation. This is one is interview, and this one is concept map. These are all for assessment purpose only, not for that not as a method of teaching. Here I have a different resource for as a method of teaching or learning process. This one is particularly referred to. Yes, this. Oh my God, how this is closed down. Wet. Is it still running? Okay, there was a bit problem. I can keep it here so that I don't get confused. It's 5 minutes. It will run for. Yeah, it will run for with another 5-10 minutes here, and then uh, again in next. If we go, I'll show you the video graphs next to this. So ideas for assessment. This is the one I wanted to start.
How can you best monitor your students' progress in their learning? An end-of-topic test is useful, but that doesn't provide opportunities for students to receive feedback at the commencement or during a unit. There are a number of frameworks that provide ideas about the types of questions that can be used to elicit student understandings. Let's take a closer look at feedback opportunities and question frameworks.
So here you're listening and I'm listening at the same time too. Meanwhile, we'll continue discussing on about this particular. I'm recording my screen video. It this have a limited time because I'm using a basic version. It's now we have a 3 minutes. At least before going to these all opportunities for feedback, these are that. Let us see.
Using assessment diagnostically, formatively and summatively is a powerful way of finding out what your students know and can do for any unit of work.
Let us see what is here formative during the unit. What does it mean by? Let me read out for you together so that we can discuss together. But the time is here. Formative during a unit. How are the students progressing as the unit of work unfolds? How do they need constructive feedback, additional support, or a challenge? Where does the unit work need to be modified on the fly to best address students' needs? For example, students' notebooks, concept mapping, interviews, pop quiz, anything that gives students an opportunity to demonstrate what they know and what they can do. These particular 2-3 lines here, that now in this we are talking about learning outcome and performance-based learning. So traditionally, earlier the example, contextualization, the previous contextualization, what we did is now different from the previous one. Earlier one, the previous ones mostly, contextualization process of such understanding was on the product-centric. Now in the process-centric. So learning outcome based NLR performance based learning is more focused here. And at the same time, before limiting this time, and periodically I'll continue this thing. Let us see what is here. So diagnostic before a unit planning, where the students starting from, how will this be taken into account when planning a unit work? This part is diagnostic assessment part, and example interviews, cartoons, concept mapping, and brainstorming, students not booking, and at the same time let us see how their teachers do this particular task. Yeah, so sequentially the next thing, everything we'll see here and we'll discuss with, at the same time real classroom situation we are going to see this particular timing, every 10 minutes I have to put off and I have to again restart it so that I can continue my this way of discussion. 10 minutes discussion It's very less here. I need around 1 hour, but yeah, you don't. You have to develop patience to manage this way at this crisis time. Yes, I cannot stop now. If I stop now again, there will not be any record. Okay, it's 3 seconds. So again, yeah, here we let us see. This part is diagnostic. Diagnostic, that is before a unit, and before a unit that inside recat is planning. So this is about a diagnostic assessment implemented in the classroom as a formative assessment part. And what does it, what it says? Let us see how in summative, have all the teachers, reach a point where they can demonstrate intended learning outcomes. Can they transfer their understanding and skills to new contexts? See, normally when we describe and discuss sometimes summative assessment, this and that, very, mechanical. Here we can at least come up to contextualization part. Can they transfer their understanding and skill to a new context? Say, for example, with the help of end of the topic tests, portfolios, exhibitions, investigations, presentations, products, and a project. And what we normally do is mostly a class internal written examination as a summative unit test. We normally we don't follow here as a technique of this, these things are, but these are the examples of summative. The simple term at the end of the unit, what you have, how you can do the summative assessment. So these are the things we have to know how to do. Work out with portfolios after each class or group of the class, series of the class, exhibitions. Every day we cannot do it, have to be managed accordingly. And so this will come to annual unit plan. But what type of particular topic you need, you can decide upon that. Well, yeah, this much of topic you can cover through exhibition. With the help of exhibition as a summative assessment part, investigation, you can give assignment, project-based assignment as a summative one. Presentation, yeah, sometimes we do products and projects. The use of products and projects included sometimes in the exhibitions, but exhibitions never compelled to bring a product or project like this. So project is a different thing. So let us go to a video where this diagnostic assessment is used to conduct in the classroom. First, listen. I am bringing you to a classroom inside Australia. A class teacher. Let us listen first her opinion and how she apply a diagnostic assessment at the beginning of the class, so that she can proceed the further class. That means in the assessment for learning part. Let us just see and listen to her first, then we'll discuss.
I'm actually about to start a new bit of a section of ecology, and I want to actually know what the students know already about the topic. I don't actually want to spend too long on material that they already know, that they've had exposure to. So in order to do a bit of a pre-test, I'm going to use a concept map for that purpose, diagnostically. And then I'll come back to the students and do another concept map down the track, so I can see the progression between their understanding of concepts now and later. And hopefully my teaching methodology will enable any gaps to be plugged that I am aware of when I have a look at those first concept maps. Okay, I set the concept map up today by having a look at the program, the teaching program, and about probably 2 weeks' work that I'm about to do. And I had a look at the textbooks that we currently use in science for the appropriate terminology, and I came up with a list of words that I actually put onto my computer and produced a bit of a worksheet with all of the terminology that possibly would be in dark type, in the textbook, important concepts around the next few lessons' work, and had another look at it to make sure that there were some abstract ideas and some concrete ideas on there, so that I can extend the better learners and just gauge what they know. So I'm going to start up a concept map on the board here just to interrelate these factors that we...
So dear friends, here, to try to focus that I have already started, contextualizing our assessment program for the pedagogy of life science. I'll try to bring more relevant examples. So how the diagnostic assessment use, say in this classroom, you are trying to observe, and most of whatever examples are coming up based on our related to our life science pedagogy. Here we are talking about assessment in life science pedagogy. Let us observe more what see do.
Came up with yesterday, and then we're going to move on to a concept map using some more words and develop the ideas further.
Kim uses some concepts with which students are already familiar to model how to construct a concept map.
That population has needs, and those needs are abiotic factors. The link between population and abiotic factor, okay, I'm going to draw an arrow like that, and I'm just going to put needs, all right, population needs abiotic factors. We've named some abiotic factors there. So we've got, for example, examples of abiotic factors. Oxygen might be an example. So I'm just going to put aerobic respiration here. So I'm making the links between the words, one idea or one concept and another. I'm putting a line, and on that line or on that arrow I'm putting the link. All right, so then I'm building up a concept map. We're actually moving to extend our concept map into relationships between the abiotic factors and the biotic factors in the environment. And I need to know how much you know about biotic factors so that I can plan the next few lessons. All right. Some of you might know quite a lot from primary school and from year 8. Some of you might not know all of the ideas yet, so I want to just go.
Okay, here again, I'm just interrupting to dear friends. We have done concept map, and concept map we have used as a tool for summative assessment. If you remember, before internship, we have tried concept map, and you did well, and you have to recollect concept map. See a concept map. In concept map this way, just try to find this arrow. Relationship has to establish. So, and the example coming up here is the do belongs to or life science components, but this can go to environmental science also, no problem. But here you have to remember that a concept map as a tool for assessment here in this classroom, using as a diagnostic assessment, so that she can continue the class. So it's just like she has already conducted a class. Now she is going to proceed the next class, and before going to next class, she want to just have a feedback, a formative feedback, and the formative assessment part. So that's how she's using this concept map as a diagnostic at the beginning of the class. So like this in future, right now you have used only as a summative tool. Now you can use as a diagnostic tool by using concept map. Here let us see a little bit more. Just listen carefully what she says at the same time.
A picture of that so that I know how to plan. I'm going to give you out a list of words. You need to use these words that you know and build up a concept map and show the words in circles, put any links between related concepts, and on the links put and actually articulate, state what the relationship is between one idea and the other.
So competition relates to predation, doesn't it? Because
competition would be in the food chain rather than the food web, because competition is basically there's one food source and two people.
See, after just given the one example, she herself, teacher herself, as firstly given an example. Now she has given as a task to the students. Now students normally see this is in the constructive vision case. Students allowed to discuss among themselves, and they will come up with the new concept map among themselves by discussing. This is the way and society work. So let us, observe even the behavior of the students in the classroom, how they work, with a given tasks in the diagnostic assessment phase. Okay, so this is how. Let us continue enjoying assessment part in this interactive. Yeah. Let us continue.
Wanted.
Yeah, but but wouldn't competition be predation come under competition?
We said that biotic is to do with living, all right, but we're not talking about, living, non-living, dead anymore. We're talking about living and non-living. Yeah. So non-living factors rather than dead factors, okay? All right. So
Although unintended, this exercise resulted in good formative assessment of the previous work done on abiotic factors.
What does abiotic mean?
abiotic are physical features. So we've got things like temperature, nutrients, oxygen, currents. It's physical factors that affect a living thing in its habitat. I wanted to use this diagnostically. I think that the students weren't as far on in their understanding as I actually thought they were.
And what is bio?
That's where we've got relationships between living things. So, for example, the relationship between a parrot and the food that it eats. For example, in the morning, I see this whole flock of parrots come down for the olives that grow on the olive tree near me, and that's a relationship between the biotic components of the environment. Yeah. Okay. Yep. All right. I was a bit nonplussed when they actually didn't know the difference between abiotic and biotic factors, which is something that we have gone over very quickly. For me, that's an insight into the fact that I haven't probably taught that topic or that lead up very well, and I need to remediate that. Well, I've got...
Interestingly here, my dear friends, see the interaction between the... you saw the interaction with teacher and students there, and few works you might have just observed how they are doing and how they ask questions. When they ask questions, teachers try to facilitate by giving, you might be remembering a JPD, not giving exact, answer, but instead supporting with her own ideas so that the student can create come up to their own ideas and come up to the establishment of that particular given task. That is the relationship between a biotic and a biotic. That is the part of the formative assessment part. So formative assessment, when you are trying to understand this formative assessment, lots of things are there. So continue observing this. You try to connect with your internship experience, classroom experience, and at the example your experience while you were going through the books and other text material. Let us continue observing this thing, this class more.
3 examples of concepts maps here that the students have just done in the class, and what I notice is that there's quite a lot of difference between students who have a good understanding of the concepts that I've presented to them and students with a limited knowledge. A student with limited knowledge is basically popping down a lot of different ideas on the page, and as such basically has a few concepts and a few ideas based on those concepts. This student here has made a much better job of a couple of the concepts, and there's much more information being given, but there's nothing in terms of interrelationship between one and the other. This student here, there's interrelationships starting to be developed, there's some misconceptions that will need to be addressed, and there's a whole area relating to the words that I gave them in class that hasn't been developed, so that's an area that I need to work on with this student and then others who've got a concept map similar.
Yeah, now see, we were here in diagnostic, it's a formative assessment in a unit, and diagnostic portion of assessment before, a unit planning, and so we have come across an experience of the classroom, a real classroom, and at the same time demonstration by the teacher and by the expert together. Here we are sharing this experience. I hope you will enjoy, and lots more are there for every things, every concept we are coming up here. So like that, we can go for a summative also. Many others, concepts are still there. We can still observe more in this particular portion. Yeah.
Let's look at approaches to writing assessment questions. Question content should always be driven by the intended learning outcomes of a task. The learning outcomes can be sourced from curriculum documents. However, there are also some other frameworks that are useful when designing questions. Two very useful frameworks for science are the NAPSAL Progress Map and Bloom's Taxonomy. These tools are useful to guide you in developing assessment questions that target a range of learning outcomes, including targeting higher order thinking skills and not only simple recall of facts.
Yeah, so learning outcome. Here again, writing assessment questions, especially, and when we write questions should be questions should be driven by learning outcomes. And learning outcome, you should take or reference from the given learning outcome index given by NCERT for school, and these are available free of course. You can download from the website, and you must have at least particularly one at least class, for example class up to the primary or secondary level. Better you choose a secondary level, and just try according to your subject and go through that learning outcome index. You'll find index. From there you can create the questions. You will be able to write the learning outcome questions. So that will lead to the learning outcome questions will lead to how to manage properly this summative assessment. And in the next other discussion we'll continue more on this, but very carefully we have to understand this assessment for learning do have other sub classification, and that many tools are inside there to achieve the objective of the assessment for learning. Here we have started from diagnostic and will leads to the summative assessment. The summative assessment is not part of the formative assessment, but it is it is also said that assessment of learning. But yeah, here prognostic assessments is also there. Here you have seen the diagnostic one as a formative assessment part, the concept map as a tool, and similarly this will lead to summative assessment. And in the next session we are going to discuss more on a very clear classification between some assessment for learning, assessment of learning, assessment in learning, assessment as learning, prognostic assessment, diagnostic assessment. All these things are there. Few of them have a similar characteristic, few are common characteristic, and but because in certain characteristics they differ from each other. And we are going to contextualize in our own subject of life science pedagogy. At the same time, when you give example during the examination, you have to cite a particular class by giving a proper reference, by choosing a proper topic, so that you can give a correct form of example. Okay, dear. So my dear friends, this is one of the ways. So I have lots of videograph. We'll share another classroom, but for today let us stop here. We can continue in the next class. If you follow the Google Classroom routinely, we can have the formative part also, at the same time summative part also together. We are not still actively trying to understand by practicing it. Doing all these things need practice. So participate in Google Classroom. You can ask me lots of questions, and that question will lead to our formative assessment part, development of understanding each other. And I'm giving you the task, and if you complete those tasks are formative one. I have not given actually as a summative one. Okay, enjoy the day, stay safe, continue stay safe, stay happy and joyful. Let us continue next class. Thank you. Bye bye.